Hi, is this mic even working? No, it doesn't matter. I only got like 3 days left to do this. So in the past few months, I've been told something along the lines of, hey, you have a content creator voice. And I never fully got the reason as to why, but I've decided to put that to the test. Think of this video as a test run to my YouTuber era. One time Trayshawn had told me that I should start a YouTube channel since, according to him, it seemed like I'd be pretty good at it. So if this video turns out to be bad by any means, that's his fault. Before this starts though, just wanted to make a few quick disclaimers. One, some parts of this project may be unreasonably loud since I don't know how bad the speakers are for the monitor. My mic isn't really good either, so don't complain about it unless you want to buy me a new one. My birthday is coming up though, so if you wanna... 2. This project will be compiled of a mix of 2D stuff, 3D stuff, storyboard animatic stuff, and etc. I'm not a pro by any means, so I'm just trying to tell a story here. So enough with the preamble, let's get into my traumatic experience at Ocean City. So back in like 2017, my family and I were planning to go on a trip to Ocean City as a fun vacation. As expected, everyone in my family was excited, but especially me. I'd actually never been on a proper beach before at the time, as my impressions of the beach were from TV and movies.
Loser.
My 11 or 12-year-old self, I don't even remember. My 11-year-old self had nothing to worry about besides finding the closest bathroom on arrival. The car ride was long and uncomfortable, squished between two siblings, being forced to endure the pain for 3.5 hours on end. But finally, after taking 20 minutes to park, I rushed to the nearest bathroom possible and decided to stare in awe at all the attractions the place had to offer. I seen horse rides, a bunch of white mini houses, tons of kids running around, and no, I'm just playing, I didn't really pay attention to any of that. My priorities were set on a different endeavor. There was water, and a lot of it. It was by no means as carefully constructed and organized as a water park, but at that point, I was going to take what I got. While my parents were calculating on how far we were parked away from the beach itself, my siblings and I were ready to sprint to the sand to place our umbrellas when suddenly, my dad said one of the worst sentences ever at the time. We need to unpack our stuff from the trunk. Everyone, including my mom, groaned at the realization of what we had to do. However, we were all too tired to complain, so unfortunately we had to get to work. After the strenuous task, we did a quick check on our supplies we had brought. As I went over the list one more time, I made sure I didn't fail at my very simple job. Ice chests, blankets, tons of sunscreen, yada yada yada, self-explanatory stuff. It's boring stuff, check. Just as I was about to close the trunk, my older brother had handed me something. Packaged in a plastic box baked by my mother for hours on end the night before and initialized in cursive with some homemade cinnamon bread. As delicious as it sounded, I had no idea exactly why my older brother had given it to me, especially since we finished unpacking 2 minutes ago. However, the sus grin on his face immediately made me realize something's up, and a bad one at that. Right when he seemed like he was about to burst out snickering, he suddenly zoomed off towards the beach. Now trying to catch up with him, I screamed, hoping to make at least some sort of sense of why he bolted off. But merely a few seconds later, he was already far gone. After giving up and catching my breath, I decided to stroll through the area to where we set our items and blankets. Walking in those doot-doot-doot Adidas slides, I had just crossed the boardwalk a few seconds ago when I suddenly stopped. I didn't know what had happened, but my instincts were on overdrive. My spidey senses were going off the charts, now feeling the sensation of danger from behind. As I slowly turned to face whatever horror had caused me to be this anxious, I immediately realized just how much of a pickle I had actually got myself into. On the scorching sand stood 6 seagulls. All of the 6 were in a triangle formation, eyeing at the plastic compartment that was being held on for dear life at this point. These birds weren't here to mess around. The team was out for not blood, but something worse. Glucose-infused wheat. Now, being the mere age of 11, I didn't know much about seagulls besides the fact that they were on beaches. Before going on the trip, I made the rash assumption that seagulls didn't naturally like bread in real life, just like how rabbits don't really eat carrots like that. However, the objective was clear, and the execution had to be perfect. The seagulls were only about 8 feet away from me, but I knew they'd catch up eventually, so I had no choice but to do what any sane person in this situation would attempt. Run away. Sprinting like my life depended on it, I dashed along the sandy terrain with no particular destination in mind. The panic was growing large, sensing that the winged thieves were right on my trail. Quick glances and stares were now being exchanged, but there was no need to worry about those matters. Adrenaline pumping through my body, I could feel myself gliding through the sand with ease, quickly adjusting to running in those doop-doop dots and believing I was about to escape the hunger-filled seagulls. And as I was thinking of sliding to my left to re-enter the boardwalk and to hide in the bathroom, I tripped on the shell and fell to the ground. Now, falling on the sandwich was really hot didn't faze me too much at that point. I guess the adrenaline helped me not experience as much pain as there probably was. Now, as I fell, the lid of the plastic container had fallen out, with the bread now out in the bare sand, only inches away from the box. However, the 6 seagulls were in the air directly aiming for the target, so a decision had to be made, and fast. Either sacrifice the bread that your mom took hours to properly prepare and be ultimately saved, or endure the pain of potentially being attacked by seagulls in public. I knew what I had to do. Quickly clenching the bread from the ground, I breathed in heavily and closed my eyes, bracing myself for impact. Just kidding, I scooped up the bread and immediately tossed it to the boardwalk. I'm not dying for bread. So yeah, that's kind of it. After working on this project, I realized how fun it is to speedrun a whole video days before a due date. Isn't that fun? Should I make a YouTube video? I don't know. But more importantly, if I get a bad grade on this assignment, then I personally say, blame it on Entree Sean.